So welcome to the District 45 Learning for, or Focusing on Success. Tonight we are going to learn all about club growth, and to lead us through this presentation, I am proud to introduce our Club Growth Director, Sherry Mcdonald.
Okay. Welcome to the Club Growth webinar. Over the past few months, the Club Growth team has been actively researching and creating tools for all clubs and members within District 45. Tonight, we will share information, tools, and resources to help you grow your clubs. This webinar is going to be in the form of a panel discussion, and we have 4 panelists this evening: Suzanne Melling, Angela Shute, Elise Thorson, and Rhea Hamlin. And I do want to say a thank you to our Zoom master, Donna Jean Tershon, who has agreed to monitor the chat and just keep an eye on everything. Let's start this evening off with Angela Shute. Question for you, Angela. Angela joined Toastmasters in October 2016, and this year is our Club Coach Chair. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you.
My question for you is an important one, especially since it can impact many clubs and members. How does the club coach role help District 45?
Thank you. Typically, the club coach role in Toastmasters International supports the club coaches. In District 45, and really throughout the entire international world that we're in today, is not only do we have club coaches that we're attracting, recruiting, and helping them with their mission, and the club coach mission is to help the clubs get to success through distinguished club. And to help them get through that mission, we also have found that we don't simply have enough coaches. So we're also helping all the clubs with those same processes get to distinguish. So if you're struggling, you're welcome to join us this year in District 45 to distinguished. That's the mission, to distinguish and beyond. That's it.
Thank you very much, Angela. And how does a club coach ask to be a coach, have a coach?
We've put together Google Forms, so it's very easy. If someone is interested in being a club coach, they simply fill out a very simple Google form, which asks them the pertinent questions. And then a team reviews it, meets with that person, makes sure that they meet some qualifications that are required. One of them, you have to be a member in good standing in a club of good standing in Toastmasters. And then just we work with them and then meet with and help them match up to a club that's interested in having a coach. We also have a Google form for clubs that say, hey, we want a coach. And they have the same thing, a form, couple of questions to answer, and then we try to match a good grouping with the same personalities that work together, the same kind of ethics, the same kind of cultural ideas, so that it's win-win. We like win-win.
Thank you, Angela. And you have been doing this for a few months now, since this year, and it's working quite well.
It's working well. What I did before I even said yes to taking it on is I reached out to all of the club coaches that would speak to me, and the ones that were prior, as well as club coach chairs, and I asked them 3 questions. What's the issues that are the prevalent issues that you're dealing with? What do you need to get your job done, to reach your mission, and what do you want? And then we worked towards that end with all that data. So it worked out quite well. And it's still working out well.
Perfect. And we're going to share with you how or where you can find those links to request a club coach or be a club coach later on before the end of the evening. Thank you very much, Angela. And we're going to move on now to Suzanne Melling. And Suzanne is our recruitment chair and has been a Toastmaster since June of 2010. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you.
When I think about club recruitment, my mind automatically goes to creating new. But everybody here, I'm sure, is looking on ways to increase membership within. So how can the existing clubs use the tools that you've put together to help grow their individual clubs?
Thank you. Actually, it's this, is that me? Actually, it would be the same whether you're looking at forming a new club or growing an existing club. Bottom line, our goal is to get new members into the club. And what we start with is research. We research whether it's an organization that we will be going into, or we do what we call a soft research if it's someone who's interested in going to a club. And what I give you as an example is you're at work one day and all of a sudden someone comes in and says, oh my God, I wrecked up this presentation and it was just horrible. And innocently, of course, we say, oh, what happened? And it was, I lost my place, whatever. And that's our perfect time to start talking about Toastmasters. Oh, that happened to me as well. And then just go into it from there. So that's the soft, I call the warm call. And then you would have, of course, the cold call. After the research is done, we go into the cold call. And in that, we have all kinds of supporting material on the website to go along with this. And then the last thing we would do is a demo meeting. And what's the best place to have a demo meeting? It's in our own clubs. So I feel that first we have to grow our own clubs before we can start really and make them as strong as possible before we start looking at forming new clubs.
Doesn't have to be an iPhone. It can be anything.
Thank you very much. And I do want to remind everybody, if you're not speaking, to please put yourself on mute so that there's a little interruption, I suppose, for the speakers. Now, you talk about the soft call, I think you said, and that's just kind of general conversation with people that you would meet in your workplace, anywhere really. But what about that dreaded cold call? Those are the ones that I know scare people. They certainly scare me. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit more about the cold call and how we can get over that hurdle about the fear of thinking about it?
First of all, I am a big fan of Jim Coley, and on our website we have his demonstration of how to do a cold call embedded in there. The very first thing that we start with, as I said before, is the research. And when you research a company, you can choose any search engine that you want. Usually we start with Google, but could go to LinkedIn. Once you research that company and you found out what's special about them, what is it they do that's different, what sets them apart from other organizations, then you can take that information and look at the value, features, benefits, and value form. I'm using that now for everything. So you take that form and you use it when you're starting to make your script up. Now, he has a script already in there, introduces himself, and then he puts something in the first sentence that would go along with the values of that particular company. And then after that, he didn't say this, but I'm going to say this: practice, 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 practice until you know it upside down, backwards, and forwards. And the reason why I say this is if you're thrown a curve, and you will be at some point in time, whether you're in person or whether you're on the phone, you have to be ready to respond. And if you know that script, and if you're flexible with how you're working it, it makes it much easier for you to do. But if you sit there and you literally read from a script, sorry, that's very boring, and it's not inviting to people as well. And finally, what he also does is you make up a spreadsheet of who you called, when you called, what their responses were. And in some cases, they will tell you not to call back. Give your team access to this spreadsheet so that they are all aware of what's going on when we start following through on things. So the truth of the matter is, the more you practice it, the more that it becomes your script, the easier it is. And hey, listen, you're on the telephone. No one can even see you, for the most part. So what's to be afraid of? Just do it.
Well, I'm not sure if that alleviated all of the fear there, but it certainly did give us some ideas. So thank you very much, Suzanne. And I have to say, you going through that kind of made me realize I was looking for VPM peer call suggestions for topics. I think I just found myself a new topic for the new year. So thank you very much on that.
Okay.
Our next panelist is New Club Quality. And New Club Quality is critical to club growth. This year, Elise Thorson has joined Toastmasters, is our new club quality chair. She joined Toastmasters in January 2020. Welcome, Elise. Do you have a good connection there? She's in transit.
I am in transit, but we'll white knuckle through this. Sorry.
All right. I see you're on the train again.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. You'll have to tell us about your adventures later on. Growing clubs is important to District 45, but as you can imagine, the members here tonight are looking for ways to grow membership within their existing clubs. What ideas can you provide our members to do just that?
So there are two related answers to that. First, I think you need to have a plan to get the word out that is a whole of club plan, where it's everyone's responsibility to get the word out about the club and to get the word out about the club in a structured fashion. Because there's a tendency, I think, to, especially for members, to compartmentalize Toastmasters as a thing that happens for an hour or two every couple of weeks. And maybe they scramble to get a speech done outside of that time, but they're not really thinking about the club outside of that specific time period. And growth really takes planning. You need to plan on longer scales than that. Whether you're thinking about community outreach, like a speechcraft event, or public relations events like an open house. We had a brilliant webinar about open houses a few weeks, about a month ago now, sorry. And even the basic milestones of getting through the annual cycle of elections and contests and renewals takes time and planning, and all that is just takes a longer period of time. And at the same time, it takes more frequent engagement than every couple of weeks from the members themselves. So they need to be out there on social media, getting flyers out, putting meetings on social public calendars, and just thinking frequently about how to get the club's name out there. And in order to get that kind of investment from members, you really need to invest in the members themselves and dig into their strengths. This isn't rocket science or reinventing the wheel or inventing the wheel. It's really turning back to the basics, because there are a whole lot of resources in Toastmasters already for improving meeting and club quality. But I think the most important thing really is investing in the people who make your club unique and special, because these really beautiful members who are discovering the reserves of competence and showing up bravely are incredibly attractive, and that's what's going to convert guests into members. And taking these actions and inspiring others to these actions as a leader in the club are also the sorts of experiences that will help you to rise to the roles of club sponsor and club mentor when you're ready and when the district needs somebody like that.
Thank you very much, Elise. And something you said there that kind of resonated with me, it's about we can't forget that the club is always learning, it's always growing, and we always have to circle back to those. We can't make assumptions that everybody knows what's going on. I'm going to ask you one more question, and it's going to be an add-on or a continuation for what you just said about club sponsor and mentor. And can you tell us a little bit about club sponsor, club mentor, the roles they are for when we get to the point of creating new clubs? Just so that everybody understands what the difference is, because I think there is sometimes some confusion out there.
There is a little bit of a difference between a club sponsor and a club mentor. They're both similar in the sense that they are meeting with people who are not very familiar necessarily with everything that goes into running a Toastmasters club. They are both supporting new clubs where there isn't a whole lot of experience even seeing a successful club, let alone running a successful club. What the difference is, though, is that a club sponsor is there to help the group or organization to go through the actual administrative steps before they even get there, to really introduce the basic elements of a Toastmasters meeting, where we have the prepared
So as we said earlier, Elise is currently traveling on a train, and obviously her internet went dead. I'm going to continue to answer this question unless she pops back in. The club sponsor is really to take the club to the point of charter. So oh, you're back. Are you back, Elise? So it's to take the club to the point of charter. And yes, there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done to get there, but it's also about getting through the basics and helping the members start having quality meetings. Once the club charters, then the mentor takes over. And it's at that point that the mentor mentors the club for 6 to 12 months. And it's really important that we take the club, whether it's the sponsor or the mentor, we take the club through all the pertinent roles in Toastmasters. And what I mean there is take them through a speech contest. make sure you take them through elections. So all those crucial things that only happen once a year before you leave as a mentor, make sure that they have a good understanding and a good foundation for that. Hopefully, Elise.
Thank you, thank you, Sherry.
Okay, you're back. Okay. Hopefully we'll be able to catch you up on or get you in the next one as well. Okay, so don't go anywhere. Hopefully not. Our final member, Rhea, we haven't forgot about you.
Oh, phew.
Of the club growth team is Rhea Hamlin. Rhea joined Toastmasters in September of 2015, and this year is our marketing chair. Welcome, Rhea. Marketing can be very complicated, and I've said this before, if every club had a lot of money, they could go out and hire their own marketing company. But I don't think that's the case in D45, at least in the clubs I'm involved in. So Rhea, can you share with our members ideas on how they can market their clubs on a budget?
Yes. If you don't have lots of money that you can throw into marketing and you're on a limited budget, some of the things that you can consider are social media, so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, our website, networking groups such as Rotary, commerce clubs, postals and signage like your club banner, and traditional marketing tools such as papers, newspapers, radio, and flyers. Personally, I think that every club should start with a website and maybe add on one or two extras. So one or two of the other things that I mentioned and go from there. I think it's better to start small and work your way up to having multiple marketing tools instead of jumping in with too many. Starting off with too many could be stretching your VPs of PR a little too thin. It could be helping you, actually hindering you and not actually helping you. Your website could become a date. You could be posting too frequently and getting low engagement rates on your posts when you do posts. And my concern with that is that will appeal or could appeal to an inactive group, to a potential lead. We don't want that. We want that potential leads to see a high engagement club. So I hope that you will rather, instead of starting big, consider to start small, get the ground under your feet, get the systems, the tone, the messaging, and the onboarding, the engagement, all that form, and then start adding and maybe another social media, or maybe add a networking group to that and slowly add on.
Thank you very much, Rhea. So not take one step at a time. Take those baby steps, right? No, don't jump into everything all at once. It may become very overwhelming. You mentioned social media. Now I want to ask, is there a, quote, best tool to use, or does it really depend on the club?
I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. It will largely be based on your membership. If you're a corporate club, you may lean more towards LinkedIn than compared to other social media sites. If you have a younger membership base, you might resort to Instagram, Snapchat, or something like that. But I think for a lot of our clubs in District 45, you might find Facebook to be the right tool for you. It allows you to have both internal communications with current and past members through a group, but also have external conversations with potential leads through a page. So it kind of hits two birds with one stone in many ways.
Perfect. So it sounds like it's maybe a good balance, especially if you don't have any, it's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ria. Now I want to circle back to Angela and talk a little bit more about club coaches. I want to say that there's a rumor that D45 has a shortage of club coaches. Can you comment on this and tell us what is being done to help those clubs that still need help?
Thank you. We do. We do have a shortage of clubs in District 45, and I'm having an opportunity to speak to all the different the division directors and speaking to their area directors, like, who do you know that might be interested in being a club coach? But while that is filtering in, what we're doing for those clubs that qualify for a club coach, but we don't have a club coach for them, and those clubs that even don't qualify for a club coach, they've got too many members, so they don't qualify for a club coach, but they also feel like that they're struggling. For those clubs as well, we've chosen to do the same kind of system training that we're doing for the club coaches. Now, the club coaches, I put together a team distinguished monthly masterclass mastermind. The masterclass is where we give them help them share some fresh perspectives, some tools, some tactics, some strategies, and some resources so they can take it back to their clubs. And that's the master class. The mastermind is a brainstorming session. It's a brainstorming session with peers so that they can problem solve real issues, real time, with people that are in the muck and the mire that they're in, so they understand where they're coming from monthly. The same thing we're putting together for the other two groups, the clubs that don't have coaches. And it doesn't matter whether they send an officer or they send a regular member. It doesn't matter as long as they're looking to get some assistance. And for the clubs that are in between, they have more members, but they don't want to struggle as well. The same thing. So we're setting up a clubs to distinguished group so that we can provide them masterclass once a month, tools, tactics, fresh perspectives, strategies, and resources that they then can bring back to their clubs. And the mastermind, same thing, brainstorming, issues, real time, solved with people that are in the same boat that they're in. So it's peer-to-peer brainstorming. The club coaches, the Team Distinguished has been meeting since August, monthly since August. The clubs to Distinguished, we just started with them meeting this month, November. So for the month of November and the month of December, I'm combining them because we have guest speakers. In December, Joe Grondin is coming and talking to us about club success and how to work, and they will be combined. Starting in January, the clubs to success will be on their own, and we'll be doing it separate. So basically, it's open, it's an all play. Anyone who wants assistance can gain assistance from the club coach process.
Thank you very much, Angela. And you did mention that this is open to anybody, no matter what their status, whether they're eligible for a club coach or not. Now, can there be more than one person per club that attends this meeting? And how do we find out about it? Or how do we raise our hand and say we want it?
I'm not going to limit how many from one club decides to come. We've got a lot of resources in District 45 for clubs. We've got peer meetings for presidents, VPPE, VP Eds and VP PRs and VPMs. And this is just another peer meeting. So I'm not going to hold them and say, no, you've got too many, you can't attend. Everyone is welcome. And at this point, all we really need them to do is to reach out to me, send me an email, and I'll make sure that they get the link so they don't miss the meeting.
Thank you very much, Angela. And DJ, if you wouldn't mind putting Angela's email in the chat for anybody in case they don't have it. And as you were talking about this, I was thinking that this would be a great opportunity for anybody who is doing the PR project. I can't remember the exact name of it, but the PR project, to jump in with you and get some tips on that. So thank you very much, Angela. The end goal of Club Coach is to have their coach reach distinguished. What are the benefits for the coach? So we know what the benefits for the club are, but what benefit do the coaches get out of it?
When I reached out to a lot of the coaches before I even accepted this position, some of the coaches shared frustration. They were concerned that if they coached for a whole year or even 2 years and their club didn't make it to distinguished, they felt that they were wasting their time and it wasn't a good use of their time. And then we discussed it and turned it around as a mindset change, because one of the things that I like the coaches to be able to do is to, for the year that they're working on this project, is to put it towards a pathways project. So it's a good HPL to use for their pathways project. You learn a lot of leadership. You learn a lot of team building skills. You learn a lot of negotiating skills. There's a lot of phenomenal skills that you develop as a coach that you may not have had the opportunity to develop before. You become a far better leader from the experiences that you learn and you gain by being put in uncomfortable situations and have to help your club find answers to their challenges, to their issues. In doing that, we also reward our coaches handsomely in District 45. And Toastmasters International rewards our coaches handsomely this year. For coaches that bring their clubs to distinguish, and that is the mission. That is the mission. Everyone needs to know when a club coach comes to your club, the mission is to bring the club to distinguish. And hopefully the club coach gets everyone rowing in the same direction and having fun while they're doing it. If you should reach that goal, the club celebrates, the coach celebrates, and they get their check mark on towards their DTM of successful club coach. If you also get to your club to 20 members in the process, Toastmasters International has reached out and said, kudos to you. We're also going to give you this year distinguished district year service for your work, hard work to do that. Good things for being a club coach. So any of you know anyone, send them our way. We'd happy to have you. Did I answer your question, Sherry?
Thank you, Angela. Yes, you sure did. And you put another plug in there for the need for club coaches. So good job. I'm going to go back to Elise. But is Elise in? I don't know if... Elise, are you there? I don't think she is she?
I don't see her.
No. The train must have went on a dead spot and she lost. So we'll come back to Elise if she's able to come back in. Rhea, I'm going to put you back on the hot seat.
Okay.
How important is it for club members to like and share their club posts? And without getting too technical, how does this increase the club exposure?
I mentioned earlier that if the VP of PR is inconsistent with the posts, it can come off that the club is no longer meeting. We don't want that. You want to come off as a vibrant club. A vibrant page will have consistent posts with lots of engagements, such as likes, comments. It can really help you get those people who are watching silently from the sidelines to show up to a meeting. By having members engage and congratulate other people who are doing well in the paths, by liking it, sharing it, it's going to help you to appeal to be an engaging club that's supporting each other and is vibrant. So if everyone is not just liking it, but sharing it, it's going to go above and beyond who has already clicked the like button. I'm going to try to explain this without getting too technical. If you go back to the example of Facebook, let's say Bob has 500 friends. When he logs into his Facebook, Bob is not going to see the activity of all 500 friends. He's going to have a select few. It may be, I don't know, a pool of 50. Facebook algorithms will choose a core group of Bob's friends to show him activity. He will see what posts that they're posting, what they're liking, what they're sharing, where they're going. Whatever those 50 people are putting on Facebook, that will fill Bob's news feed. Well, if one of his friends belongs to Toastmasters and they're commenting on the post and they're sharing it, well, that's going to show up in Bob's news feed. And Bob may not have known about Toastmasters. He might not have liked Toastmasters page, but now he's seeing Toastmaster content. Well, Bob can now be a potential new member lead for you, which may not have been a potential lead if his mutual friend wasn't doing that engagement on that post. So that's why it's important. And it's also important that not just the members are posting and liking and stuff like that, but the VPs who have access to the back end are also engaging as well. So if someone asks a question, they'll comment answering that question. They'll engaging as well. So it needs to be a two-way street. You can't just rely on your membership to do all the engagement as well. So I hope I wasn't too technical.
No, Ria, that was a great explanation, because when I say not too technical, I know there's an algorithm behind the scenes that determines the exposure that you would get, but that was a absolute perfect way of explaining it. So what I get from that is it's not just the VP PR's role, it's all our roles. We need to like, share, comment. The more we do that, the more it gets reached out, and you never know that John or Susie may be then introduced to Toastmasters. Thank you, Ria, for that. Elise, I see Elise is back.
Yes.
So I am going to ask you a quick question. You mentioned earlier getting back to basics. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yes, this is a great question. Back to basics is really meeting quality. Among many basics one can talk about, but I think if you have people who are enjoying themselves, so a good club culture, and if you have people who are learning to articulate their communication and leadership goals within our educational and contest framework, and then work towards them. So there's a number of planning things that go into that, as well as everyday work. And then if you have people holding one another to high standards and investing in one another's successes and strengths in much the way that Rhea was just talking about, congratulating people and sharing successes, then that's going to come through in every single encounter an outsider has with the club, and it's going to make the club something that members want to share. So club quality is a really important part of club growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elise. And we will come back to you, hopefully. Your connection will stay. So before I give everyone a final comment, my last question is for Suzanne. Many clubs recruit from coworkers and friends, and many areas, there are still small businesses that maybe wouldn't be large enough for a corporate club, but do have employees that could benefit from the Toastmasters program. Can you provide us with some tips on how to approach these particular companies? You're muted.
Where's that t-shirt? Well, the first thing I would say is never say never, because you do not know what people need or what they want. So to approach a smaller company would be, I think the best way would be, first of all, to find a contact in that company, one person. So say they have 5 or 6 employees. Find one person that someone can connect with, and then from there, begin to listen to what their work environment's about. Just get to know them, and then from there, that's where I would start recruiting them. At that point is when they start talking about different things. And again, going back to the features, the benefits, the values, we can always find something that will benefit them. Now, maybe they don't have enough employees to start a club in their own business, but certainly they can join another club. And I personally think that with Zoom, the doors are wide open. It's just amazing the reach we have now that we never had before. So it really makes it, quite easy to recruit people. But with a smaller club, I would treat them, a smaller organization, I would just treat them the way I would anyone that I would be recruiting, talking to, and just getting to know them. Show the side of Toastmasters that we really are. And that is the Toastmaster. It's not just education and business. It is fun. And that's what we have to come across as doing.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. And as Crystal said in the chat, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yep.
So ask.
Yep.
I also want to say thank you for Sue, who brought those projects out, the public relations strategies and the building a social media presence. Those were the ones I was trying to think of earlier. So thank you, Sue. So I am going to end this session with final comments from each of our panelists. And I am going to start with Angela.
Final comments. Club coaches. We have the most phenomenal club coaches in this district. We need more. So anyone that you know, feel free to send them our way. But they're doing a phenomenal job because we're all looking to help each other.
Right.
And it's all about growing the quality, having fun doing it, and becoming a better leader in the process. So if you haven't tried club coaching and you want to chat about it, reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you about it and see how it's going. The second thing that I failed to mention earlier, that one of the things that we're doing this year is some people are concerned that if they start working with a club and then the honeymoon phase ends and they don't know themselves and it's not working well, we've decided that we're checking in on a regular basis to make sure that the fit that we had in the beginning, the good fit, is still a good fit. And it's no harm, no foul if it's no longer a good fit. We can easily replace it and have another good fit. So there's no such thing as being stuck. So if that's a concern for anyone that you talk to, it's not a concern. Don't worry about it, because we're giving everyone a no harm, no foul opt-out option so that everyone still is in win-win. Sherry.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Angela. And yes, for those who are club coaches now, if you haven't filled out your survey that I had sent you, please do, because that's when the prize comes. And if you aren't a club coach, I think you got the hint. We need them. Anyone? I don't see anybody. No, I don't see it. Okay. We'll try again, Angela. Elise, final comments.
Final comment. If you're a small or otherwise struggling club, all of this talk about growth and happy clubs and just making everybody do the things that they need to do might sound really overwhelming and la-di-da and over-optimistic. And I would advise you to take things incrementally. Toastmasters International has a club quality checklist that you can take a look at, and you can choose a couple of items to tackle and you'll nail them, especially if you ask the club what they would like to nail with you. And when you do, celebrate that success of having nailed those things and use that energy to tackle the next items, and success will be your success. And you aren't alone. We're all here to help. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well said, Elise. Absolutely. We are all here to help, and one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to hand it over to Ria.
There is a connection between a lot of what each of us have been saying tonight. If you step back and you focus on your meetings, and you have excellent meetings, and if you have those warm and cold conversations, you really focus on the members, that will give you material for marketing and help to have those conversations, because you're, especially in time where a lot of us are meeting online, you really have to take that inner look and be like, how does my club distinguish themselves to another one? What makes us different? Is it the group that we have? Is it the rate we're going through past and we see a new member who just walked in and how they have significantly improved the public speaking or the leadership in such a short time? And maybe it's the sense of community that we have. And if you walk through your club success plan, that will help you identify the tone that you want to have in all aspects of your communication, not just with new guests, but your executive, your client membership. You can really hone in to make it sure that it's consistent throughout. Really help you to hone in on the system in which you bring people in, help them through the process so they are able to achieve stuff. That again will help you with your marketing. So this all connected. So, and I am working on a guideline that will give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully it's not as daunting, and hopefully will help you market your club regardless of the budget, if it's huge or if it's small. So.
Thank you very much, Ria. And you say about working on something for tips and tricks. We have a lot of resources that you've already put together that came from other districts and other other people, other districts. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If there's a resource out there that works to show what we want to get across, we use that one. So we're trying not to spend our time reinventing the wheel.
Right.
Thank you very much. So thank you all for attending tonight's session, and a special thank you to our panelists, Angela, Elise, Ria, and Suzanne. I really do. Club Growth has been blessed with an amazing team. We work extremely well together, and we have a lot of fun. So I'm really glad that you were able to do this tonight. And also our Zoom master. And I'll explain a little bit more about DJ in a minute. I do hope that each of you were able to take a few ideas away that will help you strengthen your clubs in the weeks and months to come. Again, thank you very much for attending. We appreciate you being here, and see you next time.
Family photo.
Oh, family photo, right.
And I have a couple of announcements before people jet as well, please.
Okay, yeah, we lost a few.